So we talked in a previous video about adding buttons to the diagram window that initiate calculation operations like solving a table or carrying out an optimization. Now you can also add links to the diagram window to carry out other useful tasks like starting an external program or starting another EES file. Links can be placed on a diagram window or a child diagram window by selecting the Add Link button here in the toolbar. When you do this, the Link Button Properties dialog will appear. The caption and the Link Button Properties can be specified here, and the resulting link button will be placed in the foremost diagram window. This pull-down window lists the various types of appearances that the link button can have, and most of these are consistent with the calculation buttons that we've seen before, but there is one additional option here, which is to have a transparent button. So the transparent button will be invisible when you're in application mode, so the user using the GUI won't see the button itself, and instead will see whatever's underneath the button. But if you click on the button rectangle area, that will activate the link button. So in this way, the button's going to act a lot like a hot area does when you put child diagram windows on your main diagram window. You can see there's a list of 6 different types of links that can be created, and they're sort of shown here. And we'll go through these one at a time. The first one is start an external program. So this link type allows any program, including another instance of EES, to be started when the user clicks the link button. And the information about what program to start is in this edit box here. So here you can put the full file name of the program you'd like to start. If you follow that with the name of a file to be opened, then you can start the program and open a specific instance of that program. Alternatively, just the name of the file that is to be opened can be used, provided that the application information is already in the operating system registry, which is typically the case. So for an example, this is an Excel file that has some information in it, and I'm just going to save it as temp.xlsx. I'll put it in the temp folder, and then if I enter that file name here as so what would it be, c:\temp\temp.xlsx in this box, and then put myself into application mode, you see that when the link button is clicked, you'll actually open that specific Excel file. So another common use of this button is to create a link to an internet page or a hyperlink or something like that. So for example, here let's just go back in and enter the URL for F-Chart software. So that's what I'm doing, and then yeah, we'll put ourselves back into application mode, and when I click the link button now, you'll notice it just opens the URL using the default browser for your computer. Alright, the second link type is open an EES file. So this link type will close the existing EES file, so it'll actually close the one you're working on or the user's working on, and it will open another EES file that's specified in this edit box next to the link button property. So EES will check to see that the current EES file is saved, and if not, it will ask for confirmation before closing the file, and then it will open this new file. And this option is useful when the results of one EES program somehow provide information or data that you want to use in another EES program. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a real trivial example here. So we're going to have our first EES program just generate an array of X and Y data, and we'll save them in a lookup table, and then we'll have a link that will open a second EES program, and that EES program will actually open that table and make a plot of some subset of the data. Alright, so let's maybe go ahead and start a new EES file, and we'll save this as program A. So this will be the first program. This is the one that maybe we'll put this in temp. This is the one that generates the data and saves the table, so we'll call this program A. And what is this going to do? It's going to first of all make an array, so maybe duplicate I equals 1 to 20, X sub I is just I, and Y sub I is some function of X. So I don't know, let's say 1 plus 2 times X sub I, and maybe we'll add some random number that ranges between -1 and 1 and end. So let's see, go ahead and solve that, make sure it works. So here's my arrays table. And then at the end of doing that, what I'd like to do is save the arrays table to a lookup file. So I'll do that with a directive. This is a nice time to talk about the directive information dialog. So if I go to options and go to directive info, these are basically instructions to EES that happen outside of solving the equations. So after I'm done solving the equations, what I'd like to do is save the arrays table. So if I go to saving and copying data, and then here, I guess I want to either save, so save table is probably the one I want to look at. And down here in the palette, this just lets me put together the directive. So $save table, the name of the file I want to save it to. So I can either type it in here, or I'm just going to go and select the file. So we'll put that in the temp directory too, and we'll call it temp.lkt. And then the table I want to save, I can either specify it with a string, or if I pull this down, I want to save the arrays table. And there's only one, so that'll work fine. There's all these other options that I can add. I don't think I need any of these. And we'll paste it at the bottom. And there's my directive. So when I run now, I should see that not only do I get the arrays table, I've also saved the arrays table as a lookup file. All right, so that's what the first program is supposed to do. So on the diagram window, I'm going to go ahead and put a calculate button that runs it. And then I'm going to put a link button. And what the link, that's not the link button. Here's the link button. And what the link button will do is open a second EES file, which we're going to call program B, which I haven't written yet, but that's the next thing that I will write. So we'll hit OK, and we'll put this down here, and we'll save this. And now let's go ahead and start a new file, and we'll save this file as program B. So save as let's see, we'll put this in the temp directory also, and this one's going to be program B. So yeah, I think what program B needs to do is first of all, open up the lookup file that I wrote. So again, that's a directive. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my directive information window. This also has to do with saving and copying data. Open lookup. So open lookup, and then I just have to put the file I want to open, or here I can just browse to it. So I'll browse to the file that I have previously saved. So here, and there's other, again, options that I can choose, but I don't think I need any of those. So let's paste this at the top. And then once I've opened that up, what I'd like to do is actually make a plot of some subset of the data. So maybe I want to plot rows 2 through 7 or something like that. So again, that can be automated with a directive. So go to directive info. I guess this would be under plots. I want to make a new plot window. And right now there's no data available to plot. So let's go ahead and run this, which should load that. And now if I go back to that same spot, so plots, new plot window. Now it'll let me go to the new plot window dialog because there is actually data to plot. And here I can set up the plot exactly as I want it. But rather than making a plot, this is going to actually build a directive that will make that plot automatically. So X and Y, I don't know, maybe symbols and no lines and some grid lines, and that's probably good enough. And we'll hit OK. And you can see it put the directive right here. So I'm just going to paste that. Maybe I'll paste it at the bottom. And yeah, there we go. So the last thing I got to do is stipulate that I don't want to plot all the rows. I want to plot rows starting at some value, maybe 3, and stopping at some other value, maybe 10. And we can automate these or allow the user to enter these in the diagram window if we want to, but I just have to replace here row 1 with start and row 2 with stop. And I think this will work now. I should probably test it and make sure. So let's go ahead and solve this. And yeah, sure enough, this is some subset of the data plotted on my plot here. So let's get rid of this and finish this up with a diagram window. So let's see. Maybe I want to have an input variable for start. That's probably good. And another input variable for stop, like that. And a calculation button. And maybe the last thing is let's just put the plot right onto here. So show plot. I think there's only one, so that's fine. And there's the plot. So now if I run this from the diagram window, yeah, of course I have to get rid of these inputs here, or if I want to, I can just do $if diagram, actually $if not diagram, $endif. So if the diagram window is up, I won't set them here in the equations window, otherwise I will. So let's go to the diagram window. $if, well, I did that wrong, huh? So okay, that's fine. Let's go back and look again in the directive information, and let's find how we're supposed to do $ifs. So $if diagram window. That's what I did wrong, right? So $if or $if not. So let's go ahead and put that in there. $if not diagram window. All right, and now hopefully, yeah, it will. If I put myself in application mode, it will calculate. So let's save program B, and we'll go back to program A. I guess it's right here. And we'll go to the diagram window, and we'll go to application mode. And now, if everything works okay, we will calculate, which has now saved our data. And if I hit this link, I should find that program B opens up. And if I calculate this, I can, let's do 1 through 15. So there, it's going to load that data and make a plot for me. Right, so obviously there's better ways to do this, but you see the idea, right? One EES program operates and does something, and then what the link does is open a whole different EES program that can use the information from the first one to do whatever it is you need to do with that. Okay, so let's go through some of the other links that we can use. So let's go back to development mode, and here's the link button properties dialog. So we've done these two. The third one here is open a distributable file. So this link type is applicable only to distributables, which we will create with the make distributable program command, and we'll talk about that in a later video. But this link basically also allows one EES file to open another, except in this case it's a distributable version of an EES file. The fourth one here is open a child diagram window. So this link type will only be enabled if you have one or more child diagram windows created for your diagram. This one doesn't, so that's why it's grayed out. But this list box here to the right will list all of the child diagram windows that are in your application, and if you click the link button, then you will open the specified child diagram window, just as if the user had clicked the left mouse button within the hot area for that child diagram window. Okay, so moving down, we have play macro, and this is adapted with EES variables if you need that capability. So this link type will play a predefined macro file that has been stored either with an EMF file name extension or stored with the EES file that you're working in. And the capabilities of this link is actually pretty powerful, but it requires that you are able to program using macro commands, which is a whole different course, basically. But I can carry out basically any keystroke command in EES automatically using an associated macro command. So the first parameter that you need to provide here is the name of the macro or the name of the macro file. And optionally, you can also provide a set of EES variables that you want to send to that macro. And then what will happen is when the macro file is played, the macro file is going to look for the sequence %%n, where n is an integer value, and it's just going to substitute in that list of variables that you sent to whatever macro commands have that %%n. So for example, the first one here, %1, anytime it sees a %1 in the macro file, it will replace that with whatever you sent it. So it's a nice way of communicating with that macro. Here's this last one, which is, I think, pretty self-explanatory. So it opens a lookup table file, and this will create a link button that when you click it will display the open file dialog from Windows, and then the user can select a lookup table that he or she wants. So anything that has the file name extension of .lkt, .txt, or .csv, and it'll open that file. And actually, after the selection has been made, an EES string variable will be created that is set to the value, set to the name of the lookup table that you just read in. So let's just demonstrate what I mean real quick. So here is a new EES program, and we will hit the link button, and we'll have it open a lookup table. So let's go to application mode and click that link, and I'll just navigate to a table. So there's a table, and now if I solve, you'll see that there's a link $sign that's been generated, which is the name of the table. So now if I need to retrieve data from the table, which is probably the reason I opened it, right, I can use this string variable to go to the table that the user opened and then process the data in that table.